CNN is on a massive meltdown right now, along with the rest of the mainstream media and the left-wing lunatics out there, and it is so funny to watch. Van Jones, in particular, is about to cry. He's losing it. He's emotionally weak. He is a broken female at this point. It is so funny to watch this all play out, and this is all because the Supreme Court has ruled that any president, not just President Trump, but any president has immunity from official acts as the president of the United States of America. And that apparently is a big problem for the left-wing lunatics. Let's go ahead and listen. And by the way, this video on CNN's channel already ratioed, already ratioed on their own channel. It's bad. Van Jones reacts to the SCOTUS ruling on presidential immunity. Here we go.
The Supreme Court has finally released its ruling on this long-awaited case, saying that Trump has immunity from official acts. In several cases, they cite what official acts may be, but they also leave a number of others open for lower courts to make a final determination on. We're going to be talking a lot about the legal implications of all this. I want to first bring in CNN's Van Jones and Scott Jennings. Van, as you look at this, what stands out to you?
Well, it's a very concerning outcome. You know, there's a maxim that says in law, bad facts create bad law. So when you have somebody doing stuff that's so terrible, the stuff that Trump did in office, it creates these bad facts. The court has to come in and figure out what to do about it. It often creates bad law. Basically, the question is, Supreme Court, do you more care about the unlawful conduct of a sitting president?
This man is about to cry on national TV. He's about to actually cry. This is pathetic, and I love it.
President, or possibly the unfair prosecution of a former president. That's really what they had to balance. They're obviously more concerned about the latter. And so I think politically, it's bad. It makes the Supreme Court look very partisan. They're supposed to be wearing these kind of black and white umpire jerseys or whatever. They look like they're wearing red jerseys or even MAGA hats. It's going to go down bad politically for the Supreme Court. It's also scary.
Yeah,
because
MAGA Supreme
what is Trump
Court.
Gonna do? If Trump gets elected and there's this idea that he can get away with even more stuff, that's really, really scary for the public because he already ran over every norm that he could. So it seems like, I'm just looking at this politically, not legally, politically, it's almost like a license to thug in a way.
Dude, they are so out of touch with reality right now. We've already seen President Trump for 4 years. He's done none of the things that you claim that he's going to do. He's done none of them. Joe Biden has done those. Absolutely, Joe Biden has. President Trump has done none of them. President Trump did not overstep. He let the states decide on a majority of things. He never got involved. This is not what Trump does. You guys can continue to paint him as the boogeyman if you want, but the people are rejecting all of your nonsense, and the polls are showing that. So continue with your lies and your nonsense. It doesn't matter.
Like, you can do whatever you want, and the Supreme Court is probably going to let you get away with it. That is very frightening. In this case, and so I'm very, very concerned.
Scott Jennings, Justice Sotomayor, in her dissent, essentially makes that argument, saying the main takeaway of today's decision is that all of a president's official acts, defined without regard to motive or intent, are entitled to immunity that is at least presumptive and quite possibly absolute.
Yeah, look, I think there's some amount of overreaction here. I mean, after all, they did kick it back down to the lower court, so some decisions could be made about differentiating between official and private acts. But look, this court has stood up for the office of the presidency and the executive power of the presidency in a way that, you know, may be of some benefit to future presidents. I mean, we're looking at this through the lens of Donald Trump, but, you know, the President of the United States has a lot of power for...
That's because that's all these clowns can think about. It's Trump, 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 Trump. Everything applies to Trump. He's the center of their entire universe. He's their reason for being, is to hate him and blame him for everything. That is their entire existence right there.
For a reason. and they do take a lot of official actions. And I think about a future where, if it was open season on presidents for time immemorial, what action would any president ever take out of fear of being dragged into a courtroom every time they did it? So I hear Van, and I think there's interesting arguments on both sides of this today. I've listened to some of arguments like what Van has made. But at the same time, I do think the office deserves a lot of protection and a lot of deference because of the special place that it holds in our system. So I'm okay with it, especially because I think a lower court may have decisions to make in the future, of course, depending on the outcome of the election in November.
But Van, just to be clear, even if a lower court makes a ruling, then that can, because what the Supreme Court says is that can be appealed ultimately back to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, look, I think the Supreme Court is really hurting itself here. I mean, I think most Americans on either side would have preferred us getting some kind of finality around these cases. And what you see is the Supreme Court just dragging this out and dragging this out. They could have weighed in on all this stuff back in March and cleared the decks on this one.
All of these cases could have been brought in 2020 or 2021 as soon as Trump left office. All of these cases could have been brought then. But guess what, Van? They all waited. They all waited until election year to bring all of these cases. But you want to talk about the Supreme Court's dragging their feet? Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
One way or the other, they didn't. They say, go through the whole process and you come back up here. Then they wait 60 plus days past the buzzer to give us this decision. The way it's structured, this thing is going to ping pong back and forth for 3 or 4 more years maybe. It seems like they're doing Donald Trump a favor when they don't have to. The ruling does seem to be much more concerned about unleashing the presidency than constraining the presidency. That's fine, except that there's a different balance here. Now you're concerned about a renegade president. Are you concerned about a renegade president prosecuting someone unfairly after the fact or acting like a rogue or a thug in office? It's not clear what's the greater threat to the republic, and it doesn't seem like the majority really has taken as seriously the concern of half the country about renegade presidencies in the office.
It's happening right now. That's happening right now. The thing that you are accused, and again, it always goes back to the thing that they are accusing the orange man of is the thing that they are guilty of. Now, does he have a point? If you want to isolate it, could the Supreme Court have just come in and just cleared all this up immediately? I guess yes, to an extent. But the point being is that all of these cases, if they were as severe as the Democrats and the left want us to believe, why weren't they not brought as soon as Trump left office? Why did you wait until he decided to run for president and then dominate all the polls, dominate all of the elections, then suddenly all of these things happen all at once? But, of course, there's no corruption there at all. Anyway, the reaction has been all over the place today. You've got AOC losing her mind, talking about she's going to draw up articles of impeachment for the Supreme Court. You've got Kamala Harris getting fact-checked by Elon Musk and getting absolutely annihilated on Twitter for lying about President Trump. And, yeah, it's wild. It's wild. And this is all going on while the disaster within the Biden administration is happening. And you have reports that Barack Obama is done with Joe. You've got reports that Joe Biden is out. You've got his poll numbers tanking. And you've got President Trump surging. It is crazy right now. You guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for checking out this video. And we will talk to you later.